Alright, the first item I got here is a box for the Dreamcast. Yes, it's just the box, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the earlier versions of the Dreamcast, because I think around the year 2000 or maybe 2001 or probably sooner, Sega just started having the label Dreamcast on the games. It didn't say Sega Dreamcast on the game label spines, it just said Dreamcast. So yeah, again, I hopefully, one of these days we'll get a Dreamcast, but for now I just have the box. And from the same person, I also got a box for the PlayStation 2. This is actually the fat PS2 box, and it's kind of boring in design. It just says PS2, PlayStation 2, on the sides. I mean, the back, is more interesting because you get like the, advertisements for like the RF adapter, the S-video cable, and like the multi-tap, and the vertical stand and all this and that. You get some pictures of some games like Eco, Dark Cloud, Metal Gear 2, Solid, Sons of Liberty, and others. But yeah, those are just boxes, really. Yeah, I guess games then. I'm just gonna see, am I missing any here? No, guess not. Guess I'll start off with this, Red Steel on the Wii. Now, the thing is, this was originally mine many years ago, like back in 2008 when I first got my Wii. But I gave this to a friend at one point, and I kinda wanted it back, and here we are. I think I've played it once since I've got it back. I mean, before when I first got my Wii, I played this quite a bit. And, I don't have much of a solid opinion on this as of now. I guess we can continue on with the modern games. I got this from Philippe for a couple dollars. Sega Classics Collection on the PlayStation 2. And this is a really cool game. It's basically various Sega games like Space Harrier, Virtual Racing, Alien Syndrome, Fantasy Zone, Columns, Golden Axe, Outrun, Monaco GP, Tant R, and Bonanza Brothers. Basically, it's those games, but they remastered it, with the whole PlayStation 2 graphics. And, I do really enjoy Fantasy Zone, Bonanza Brothers. I love Bonanza Brothers. It's one of my favorite Genesis games. But this is one neat little package, and it's a nice little addition to my, rather lackluster PS2 collection. So, yeah, nice addition to my collection. I guess I'll start off with, I guess next off, actually no, let's just do the two Xbox 360 games I got here. This is Automedeus Excellent. Now, this is one of those games where I just looked at the front cover and the back, read a little bit of the back. I saw this at a Walmart bargain bin for $8 and got it. Because usually, I don't get games typically just because they're cheap or they look interesting. I try to mainly stick to games that I really wanted, but this was one of those exceptions because it is a shooter. It's, a 2D vertical shooter. Or, not vertical, but yeah, basically it's a 2D shooter. And it even says, inspired by the legendary Gradius series here. Now, when I first saw this fucking cover, this kind of had me scared, because I'm like, what is this, a hentai game? But, it even says, like, on the ESRB rating on the back that there's partial nudity. But, at least from what I've played, no, and I did beat this as one of the characters, although I'm not sure if you have to beat the game as all the characters to, truly beat it, like in Sonic Adventure 1. But, yeah, like I said, it is a shooter, and it's actually a pretty fun one, Like, when I get, the certain power-ups, like there's a certain power-up that spreads out 3 purple, like, boomerang-looking items. That one's really cool. And, for $8, I think this was well worth the money. And while all the characters, yes, they do speak in Japanese, they even have, like, English subtitles, so that's really cool. Neat little game for the Xbox 360. And then I got Eternal Sonata. Because at one point, I thought to myself, all the RPGs I ever played were Mario RPGs or Pokemon RPGs. I mean, I did also play a little bit of Lord of the Rings: The Third Age on the original Xbox, but I didn't really care for that. But this is one that I actually really wanted. and I was like, I also need another Xbox 360 game that I can find myself playing a lot, and this is one of them. And it's a JRPG, and it's a great game. This is really a really nice game. Like, you know, the characters are nice. The music's great. I'm not sure if it's good enough to be my awesome video game music playlist, but it really fits the game. You know, I really like the whole graphic style and the whole just, you know, like, look of the place, and the fact that it's also on the Xbox 360, you know, just really allows, you know, allows it to take advantage of the system's capabilities, and just, you know, presents some beautiful presentation and just an overall really great game. I do really like, you know, the battle system, you know, the way it works as well. The special moves, you know, they feel so satisfying to use. Like Frederick's Pew Grave, that works really well, and Algretto's Phantom Wave. I'm really glad I got this game. At first I was kind of not sure, because it's like, oh yay, I got an Xbox 360 RPG, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to get into it. I'm so glad I did. How long is this video? Okay, 6 minutes. Moving a bit faster, I guess. Fighter's Destiny on the N64. If you saw my Fan Expo video all the way to the end, you'll know that I got this game. And, yeah, like I said, it is really one of only 17 fighting games on the Nintendo 64. But this one, it's not too bad, actually. I feel like I'm kinda limited because the C buttons are not used in this game, like, for the fighting, so it's really just A, B, and I guess ZLR. But, you know, yeah. I did, like, beat the main story mode once, but I don't think I really beat the game per se. But, I think it was actually really, you know, well made, and I was, you know, thinking about getting this before boxed, and I probably still will. I might one of these days actually rebuy this boxed. But it's still, you know, nice to have, you know, in my collection. How about the two NES games I got? NES Open Tournament Golf, which, the Famicom version obviously can't be called NES Open Tournament Golf. It's actually called Mario Open Golf. And I don't get why it wasn't called Mario Open Golf on here in North America. I'm pretty sure, like, by the time this game came out, like, I think it was 1992, maybe sooner, maybe later, but point is, by the time this game was released, Mario had a healthy enough success rate where he could have branded his name on this. But hey, yeah, it is the first Mario game, contrary to the title. Mario is in the game, same with Luigi, and even Princess Peach and Princess Daisy, yeah. Princess Daisy's in this game, and it was also the first time Luigi and Daisy were ever in a game, so perhaps this might have been the game that started the whole, you know, Luigi and Daisy being a couple thing, even though I personally think that would make sense regardless of this game existing or not. But the game itself is actually a pretty fun golf game. It's miles better than, like, the Black Box Golf NES game, which I have right here, this one. Like, I just think it plays better, and, you know, it is an NES game that saves. Not a whole lot of those out there. But again, this is like Fighter's Destiny. I did really want this boxed, and I probably will get it again boxed. But, nice game. And then Urban Champion, which, as I did mention, it is like one of the few fighting games on the NES. The only other ones I can think of are Yi Kung Fu, Karate Champ, and, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, or something like that. I forgot the name of the TMNT fighting game, but on the NES. But this one, it's hard for me to call it really good, or even good, because it's so basic. Now, of course, considering the console it was on and the time, you know, fine, I guess I can, you know, let it slip. It's playable. It's probably much better to play it with a second player rather than the computer, because the game doesn't end. You just continuously fight, and fight till you eventually fall down one of the manholes. Because, like, you know, being that this is an NES game, you don't have a whole lot of button options. You know, you have A, B, start, select, and the D-pad. Like, B does a, more powerful punch. A does a less powerful punch. That's pretty much it. You can also move your punches up and down. And I believe this game did get a 3D Classics remake on the 3DS, so yeah. But it is a game that I did wanted to try out, and yeah, it's alright, I guess. About the Saturn game I got at Fan Expo, Sakura Wars Steam Radio Show. Now, here's the thing. Even though the label says Sakura Wars Steam Radio Show, Game FAQs and Sagaga Domain say it's Sakura Tyson Steam Radio Show. Now, I don't know if this is like the whole thing with Superman 64. I mean, Superman 64 isn't called Superman 64, but people call it that anyways just because it sounds better. So, I don't know. But regardless of the title, again, this is one of those games I do plan on reviewing for that, interesting Japanese video games review. But this is actually kind of an interesting game. It's basically like a fan service disc. You got interviews with people who made the Sakura Wars games. You got some mini games. You got some pictures and occasionally videos of apparently a concert or something like that. And it is also one of the games that supports the Sega Saturn's MPEG video card thing that's on the, that little expansion port on the back of the system. This is one of the few games that supports it. At least, or maybe there's more than a few games, I don't know. But point is, this is one of them. An interesting game, and yeah, hopefully I'll get a chance to reviewing it. How long is this video? Okay. Last few games are going to be Super Nintendo games. Well, actually, the first one's a Super Famicom game. I mentioned I didn't know the name of this game, but one of my mom's cousins knows Japanese, so I found out the name, and it's Wack Yen Paradise. W-A-G-Y-A-N for Wack Yen, and then Paradise. And, it's a platformer. You play this, thing, maybe it's a little dragon just shooting around stuff. And, there's, at one point during the second stage, there's, this quiz thingy that I can't get past because, don't fucking know kanji or katakana or whatever, it is. But, yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely continue playing this and try and say more things about it. Maybe I'll even review it. Now for the two Super Nintendo games, Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. I just gotta say, Bubsy sucks, alright? Bubsy was made around the time where it's hey, Sonic the Hedgehog, he's a cool, hip, animal mascot with attitude, and then everybody tried, that kind of thing. And, I think sometimes they were successful, like Gex. I think Gex games are pretty neat, and, yeah, I think Gex was pretty cool, but, then there was, Rocky Rodent, which I don't know much about, but I heard it's not very good. But, this, it tries to be Sonic, because it's hey, we got a Bobcat that can move really fast, but the fucking level design hardly caters to his ability to run fast. Especially with, the game's physics, collision detection, and the fact that you get hit once, it just doesn't make this game good. It's just not a good game. I mean, yeah, it's better than, the Bubsy 3D, the infamous Bubsy 3D, but, really, it's just still not a good game. It tries too hard to be Sonic. It tries too hard to be the next, hip, cool, thing next to Mario or Sonic. But, yeah, I mean, I still wanted to try it out, but, yeah, not a good game. Vortex. One of the few SNES games to actually use the Super FX chip. Now, I know there were games that used special chips, like Super Mario Kart used a DSP-1 chip, and I believe Mega Man X3 used a CX4 chip, but this, Vortex, Stunt Race FX, Dirt Tracks FX, and Star Fox, they used the Super FX 1 chip, while I think games like Yoshi's Island used the Super FX 2 chip. And basically what we got here is a, machine robot game, where you have different kinds of, missions, whether it's, destroying a certain base or, getting to the end. It's okay. It's kind of really not that fun. The music's kind of underwhelming. But I do like the character design of, I think her name's Lieutenant Dante, or Dante, or whatever. I still want to try it out, like I said, and, yeah, it's okay, I guess. But that's pretty much it, I believe. Yeah.